Good morning. Come on, Singleton was struggling with you guys. This is about the most important thing we do, right? It's about talent, it's about people. We don't have a business without people. So I'm really excited to join you today. Next Tuesday, I will have been in my new job for 9 months. And I was trying to think about an analogy for 9 months. And of course, there's a natural one here. And I've been pregnant 3 times. I have no intention of being pregnant a 4th time. But I suppose there are some interesting parallels to having a baby. And I'm going to take you through a little bit of it. And Singleton actually said back in the back of the room that this was purposeful on her part. She's like, you know, we want you to come back and we want to see kind of some of the mess and where you are and what you're thinking about. So I'm going to share a little bit of that with you today. Speaking of Singleton, now that I'm an agency person, I actually do like a good brief on a speech. So this was Singleton's brief to me, or actually to Chrissy for me, on exactly what I was supposed to do here today. You see, insight into her perspective, and the first the highlight jumped. I hope that's not an indicator for the rest of the presentation. But anyway, on the business and our future, and then the state of the future of the business and what that means for the type of talent. Oh, and by the way, diversity is integrated into the overall people and culture conversation. All this is supposed to happen in 30 minutes. So Singleton has very high expectations for my delivery to you. So let's start with the future, all right? Let's start exactly there. And, we can put up a number of quotes. I actually knew that quote, Patty Clark, wherever you sat down. It's John Adams who said that. And it's a fantastic quote, and it is absolutely true that most of our job is to help our teams understand this, inspire our teams, and help them achieve what they want to, and something that looks a little mystical, right? And so you see quotes out there like this, like humanity is facing a challenge unlike any we've ever had to confront. We are in an unprecedented time of change. And actually, interestingly, one of my favorite people is here with me today, and when I see quotes like this, I ask people who help me make sense of things what they mean. And Keith and I were on an interview together a couple of weeks ago, and the journalist asked Keith a very similar question. Keith, who's in his 6th decade of serving this industry now, asked him a very similar question. Aren't we in a time of unprecedented change, blah, blah, blah. And I kind of interrupted and I said, Keith, I just have to ask you, how many times in your career have you been asked if we are not, in fact, in a time of unbelievable, unprecedented change, right? And he just started laughing. And I think for just a minute, like, was there any moment, I've been working 25 years, was there any moment in your career that was not a time of unprecedented change? Is you're like, well, 1997, no, not so much change. 1997, no, and then there was 2004, not so much. No, rubbish, that's not true, right? Why? Well, because the point here is, as my old boss at Coke used to say, if you don't like change, you'll like irrelevance even less. Let's be really, really clear. And the point is that the marketplace is always changing. Get it? It's always changing. And our job in service of our clients is to make sure that we are connecting with that marketplace. Therefore, by definition, marketing and advertising must always change. So if you don't like change, this is not the career for you, right? And it's not the career for anyone that you're trying to recruit into agencies. Now, the challenge from my perspective, whether client or agency leader, is fundamentally the same. And I said this last time we were together in March. By the way, Forays is the only place I have spoken twice already in 9 months. But I did say this last time, so if you were there, I'm sorry. But I've said this 100 times. The job of a successful leader today is to do two things that seem somewhat obvious on the surface, but they're really difficult. And that is to manage the present while inventing the future. Manage the present while inventing the future. And again, you go, okay, yeah, thank you for the wisdom, Wendy. I woke up early for this. This seems patently obvious. But let's, for a second, talk about this thing called the present, right? It's all the brands, it's all the conversation, it's all the content, it's 24/7, it's real time, it's always changing. And so as a leader, while you're trying to get your arms around this thing called the present, we're also supposed to lift up and be able to see the hilltops, right? And exactly where we're going. And that really is quite difficult. I mean, I think we have to acknowledge that this task is not nearly as easy as it might be. Let's talk about the present a little bit more, right? So here we are, we have 7.4 billion people in the world now. Over half of those are unique mobile users, right? Nearly half of them are internet users. And you can see 2.3 billion, anyone who can do quick math, that would not be me, somewhere around a third, a little bit more, are social media users. Let's talk about what these 7.3 billion people are doing every single minute of every day, right? So let's start with the thing we all hate the most, right? 150 million emails sent every minute of every day, right? Look at WhatsApp messages. WhatsApp, a 6-year-old platform, has almost 21 million messages sent every minute on WhatsApp, right? You can see YouTube, you can see Google searches. Let's go a little deeper. How about Tinder? A 3-year-old platform has 1 million swipes every minute. These didn't even exist, right? They're nascent. These young companies having all of this attention, all of this engagement. You can see Facebook, Snapchat, tweets. We can go further. Look at Netflix hours, right? Spotify hours. How about 1,400 Uber rides every minute of every day? The point in me telling you this is that in a world like this, your 60-second TV spot, which is what our industry has built its strength on, is only going to take you so far. I'm not standing here as an agency leader to bash TV, by the way. Almost, if not all of our clients, almost all of them use TV. And without question, sight, sound, and motion is the very best way to tell a story. So it's not a conversation about bashing TV. But the point is, as you can see, if our job is to engage people in this ever-changing marketplace, we have to be much better at a lot more things than just doing TV. And certainly the digital platforms now, as you just saw a second ago, are really driving very much of what we're going to have to get very competent at as we talk about capabilities and talent for our agencies. So, given this landscape, what are brands doing and in order to lead their business? Well, the currency of business today is speed. There is no question. And speed is a horizontal impact to business, by the way. So this isn't just about impact to marketing. There is no business leader out there who is not grappling with the challenges that speed presents to their business, from logistics to supply chain to customer engagement, to customer satisfaction to distribution and delivery. It doesn't matter. Speed is impacting everyone. Why? Because we as consumers who are now technologically empowered have this powerful unit, not all ever very far from our hands unless we're presenting. And, we now have expectations. So take your industry hat off and think about yourself as a consumer. You get frustrated and annoyed when things don't happen at the speed of the marketplace, right? It's our expectation. And so companies now are having to really and truly grapple with that impact of speed. And of course, it is very pronounced in marketing too. So the age-old axiom that agencies and clients have known forever and a day, that you can have it good, fast, or cheap and pick two, now resolves itself as yes, yes, and yes. Thank you very much. I would like all three. I need great content, I need it at the speed of the marketplace, and I need it efficiently. My budgets are not growing. In fact, they are shrinking. So how do we meet the remit of all of this? So if you'll agree with me that the world has changed, and we're talking about what brands are doing to undertake and meet this challenge, we have to ask ourselves, why are agencies staying fundamentally the same, right? And that was the question that we started to challenge ourselves with at DDB approximately 9 months ago. The one thing that you can say for sure, there it goes, is that the days of clients force-fitting into fixed agency models is over. That is over. And every client we talk to now needs an agency and a partner that meets them at the needs of their business in a bespoke and customized way, with only the capabilities and talent they want, in the way they want it, when they want it, and nothing more. And we are constructing our agency accordingly. So I'm going to talk to you about 4 things today that we're doing that I think are instructive for how all agencies need to evolve and change. Number 1, there is absolutely no substitute for great work. There is no substitute for it. It is our calling card. It's our reason for being. So there is no agency who can persist and exist without doing the number 1 thing we have to do, which is create good work, no matter what your particular agencies' focus is. So a few things along the way that we've learned in this is to be clear on what that means, because in a socially networked world with now all of these content and all of these digital platforms, we and many, many brands, speaking as a previous brand leader, have become confused on what the goal is, right? The goal is not more content, because in this sort of sea of connectivity now, right, we can just kind of rush into every conversation, and quite frankly, brands are not invited into every conversation, right? They don't need to be there. Average consumer sees 6,000 brand impressions every day, right? There's no need for more content. There's no consumer out there going, oh gosh, I just wish I could see some more content, right? The goal then has to be not more, but more good. And that is a very important distinction for your clients, to not just rush in and because you can, because we will all build the capabilities where we can. We can crank out content with the best of them. All of us will be able to do that. We have to exert some discipline and some control to talk about when we do put out content and when we don't, in order to meet this brief of only doing the best and great content, right? So the goal is not more, the goal is more good. The second thing we all have to do is look at our processes. We have to look at our people. We have to look at our approaches, because quite frankly, the structures that most agencies are set up for were developed in a time that preceded the penetration of technology in mobile phones, the wide access now to the internet, and they're under complete strain for a marketplace that is now demanding good, fast, and efficient. So we have to actually look at everything that we're doing. This is where, and we've talked about this a little bit publicly, is what at DDB what we created was something that we're calling DDB Flex, which was really our answer to how we're addressing process and approach and people. And it's probably perhaps overly simplistic, but I think it's worth stating, and it's something we've talked to all of our clients about. And again, as a former client, it's absolutely addressing many of the frustrations that I had with my agencies. Number one, for instance, DDB has 15 offices, soon to be 16 as soon as we create one for a fast food restaurant. 16 offices in North America, in the US and Canada. Now, in those offices, we have 2,000 associates. Instead of thinking vertically about each office, we are going cross-capability now on our agencies, right? Because we might not have every capability in every office, but we certainly have every capability when you look at North America. And back to a principle of using the talent that you need and the capability that you need in the way that you need it in the moment that you need it, it would be inefficient to put every capability at every office. But we wouldn't be able to make money, by the way. It would be redundant. There would be a high, unbillable rate for many of the talent. But because we're starting to think cross agencies and take down the walls and take down the silos and create bespoke and customized teams with our own associates, we have every capability we need. And so that notion of cross capability is really important. The second thing is we have to demonstrate that we can work well together. I promise you, as a client, my deepest frustrations with my agencies were when they couldn't play well together. I did not care what holding company you worked for. I did not care what your founder thought and believed in. I didn't care about any of this. In my mind as a client, I was paying you to care about my brand and not your own brand. And that goes back to this notion of brands and companies having to force fit into agencies' models. It's gone. It's over. If you can't figure out how to play well together, I promise you, your business will not grow. And we're going to talk about collaboration some more, but you must demonstrate how to work with other agencies for your clients. The third thing in DDB Flex are media partners, right? So bringing media partners in, a lot has been written about this on our McDonald's win. We actually pitched with media partners in the room. Why? Because McDonald's is a big spender, and McDonald's wants to know what Google and Facebook and Twitter think for their brand. And this would suggest that somehow we had all the answers for McDonald's, and we can only be better, again, through collaboration. So bringing those media partners in as part of your routine process in a deeply collaborative way is absolutely critical. The next thing, we have marketing partners. Again, these may be sponsorships. These may be, individuals or celebrities, doesn't matter who they are, but having those marketing partners as a part of your process is now imperative. Again, as at Coke, we had sponsorships with FIFA and the Olympics and numerous sports teams and entertainment properties, and there was never a greater frustration for me than when our agencies would go away and do something and come, and then we'd go and show the marketing partner, and they go, oh, you can't do that. And I've lost 8 weeks and a bunch of money, right? You've got to bring these partners in together. And then finally, and perhaps most controversially, the way we're working now, if you are going to meet the speed of the marketplace, and we've already established that speed is the currency of business, you have to embed your clients in your process. There simply isn't the time now to meet what the marketplace wants for you to disappear in a dark room for 8 weeks with a brief. It doesn't happen that way anymore. So clients are embedded as part of our process. This is the way that we collapse that time frame. And by the way, the ideas get that much better. I promise you they will get better. Now, the third point is that efficiency is not a bad word, right? And efficiency has got a really bad reputation in our industry. Why? Because the minute I say efficiency, all of you are thinking about procurement people. Why do you think about procurement people? Well, because clients for a long time were demanding a more efficient model, and in my opinion, agencies were not responding quickly enough, and so clients did what they do. And they went and found the person in their building who had demonstrated the ability to work, quote unquote, with partners and drive efficient outcomes for their business, and they were the procurement people. Do procurement people know about agencies and agency business? Not usually. Some do. I mean, some have been doing it now long enough where they do. Most of these people are buying and procuring other things for companies, but they do it efficiently. And now we find ourselves in a place that we're not really crazy about, to be honest with you, all because we could have probably naturally gone there a little faster, and we should have. And there's not anyone in this room, there's not anyone in this industry who can convince me that we cannot be more efficient. I am 100% certain that there are ways that DDB and other agencies can be more efficient, and we will pursue them. So we cannot let efficiency get this bad rap. Why do we need to be more efficient? Well, because clients have created this sort of patchwork solution to solve their agency needs. If you ask a client, just any reasonably sized, big-sized client, and say, tell me about your agencies, they can't describe it for you without putting up their hands. Well, I have these guys who do this, and then I have these guys over here, and they do that. I promise you, ask them. It goes, all of a sudden the hands go up. They can't describe it without doing this. Does that system work? Yes. Does it, on the measure of creating what they want, as far as good work and outcomes for their brand, yes. Is it fast? Absolutely not. Is it efficient? Oh God, no. Right? So now you've got something that works, and this is what I'm telling you, the pressure that clients are under now to produce more quickly and more efficiently, this is going to break under the weight of itself. It simply cannot continue. And so those of you who figure out how to organize yourselves in a way that produces good work at the speed of the marketplace in an efficient manner will win. And that's why efficiency is not a bad word. The final thing I want to talk to you about is going to go a little bit deeper into talent, which is why you're all here. But I'm getting on to the other part of Singleton's brief now. And that is a principle that we're holding and that I believe the industry is going to drive toward. It very much goes into what Nancy was saying earlier. Because we now have to acknowledge that how we work is equally as important as what we make. And I would tell you this industry has been too slow to acknowledge that there is no place for bad behavior, right? We have tolerated bad behavior for talent. Well, he's really talented, so we sort of give him his space. Oh, okay. I'm like, really? All right. We don't have talented people that don't need space? And we have to judge what's and how's in equal measure. Why? Well, because of everything we just talked about. You can't be fast and you can't be efficient if you can't play well together, right? Just think about it. I mean, if any of you are running real-time studios or real-time, here's what a real-time, trying to publish a social post for a big brand looks like. There's a monitor, and there's someone in front of the monitor, and then there's like an account person here, and there's a lawyer here, and you're all like this in like a this tiny little space. If that's someone who can't play well with others and gets upset by input or opinions or direction, you're never gonna lift off in doing real-time engagement. And so we have to have what's and how's, what you do, being equally as important as how you do it in equal measure. There is no other way to meet the remit of this marketplace. You have to remember, I grew up with this guy, Roy Spence at GSD&M, and this is a fundamental belief that has been drilled into me from the beginning of my career. No one has a corner on the smarts, and a great idea can come from anywhere. We have to build our agencies this way, and we have to believe this. Now, while it was the last thing on Singleton's brief, I do have to touch on diversity and inclusion because it's important, number one, it's very important to me, and quite frankly, I don't think any of this works unless we crack the code on diversity and inclusion. In February of this year, we launched our Talent Has No Gender initiative at DDB as a simple statement for our own teams, for our 2,000 associates in North America, to acknowledge that talent is made up of a lot of things. It has to do with your education, has to do with your experience, has to do with your training, but it has absolutely nothing to do with your gender, right? In the same sense, race has nothing to do with your talent, right? Religion, we can go through these. Age, sexual orientation, your ability or disability, none of these things has to do with your talent. And it was really important for us to make a statement internally to our teams on our point of view. And that would be one of the things I would say to build on Nancy's statement as your CEO being your chief talent officer. It's not enough to just be the chief talent officer. You've got to claim and state where you stand on this. That's the important thing. You have to be public about it, and you have to say what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. And it starts internally, and then it goes from there. Our ambition on this is very simple. It doesn't take charts. It doesn't take graphs. Anyone can understand our ambition on this at DDB. And that's simply to be as diverse and inclusive as the marketplace that we serve for our clients. It's not complicated. If we're in service of the market for our clients, how could we be anything but reflective of that market to be successful? There's no way that you can do this. So those are the four things that we're focused on, right? Doing good work. There is absolutely no substitute for doing great work. We have to evolve everything for a model that is based on the marketplace and the marketplace demands of today, right? And that means looking at the people and the capabilities we have, the processes, the product that we're putting out, everything. We have to find efficiencies. No one can tell me they're not there. They are there, and your clients are under immense pressure to find them. If you don't find them, they will find them for you, and it's a much more painful process. And we have to regard what's and how's in equal measure with diversity at the core. Now, I want to say a final word on talent, because obviously that's why everyone's here today. And you're going to spend 2 days on it. I could stand up here for 2 days talking about it. I found this quote that I think is really instructive as we think about talent, right? The role of a creative leader is not to have all the ideas. It's to create a culture where everyone can have ideas and feel that they are valued. And that's really what we're trying to do. And of course, the word culture in there is immensely important. Culture is such a difficult thing. Why? Because everyone wants to put culture on their to-do list, right? It's like, well, I've got to, do the long-range plan. I got to do this. I got to turn the finance. Oh, and I need to fix the culture, right? You can't put culture on your to-do list. Culture is 1,000 different things. It's 1,000 bricks in the wall, and you're constantly drawing from it and sometimes depositing from it. Right? It's an amorphous thing. It changes with every hire you make, shapes the culture. Right? It is, as everyone has, I think, begun to grasp, it is everyone's job to shape the culture. What I observed at DDB 9 months ago is something that I think I kind of heard Patty coming on to a little bit in her remarks. I would describe us a little bit as the cobbler's children. We're so busy working on our clients' brands that we'd forgotten about our own, that we'd forgotten about our own culture and about our own people. And that's in the best possible sense, a welcome indictment. The fact that our teams want to focus so much on our clients and doing what's right for them is a good thing. But at the same time, you must build your own culture. You must build your own sense of brand. People have to know what their touchstone is, what they're coming through the door every day to represent, what we believe in, right? That's really important. You spend more time working than anything else in your life. Think about it, including sleep, right? I mean, just think about it. You do this more than anything. So if we're asking people to contribute the number one time commitment in their life, shouldn't they feel something for this brand? Shouldn't they feel something for this place? Shouldn't this place feel something for them? So along with setting the diversity and inclusion agenda, we started to bring that to life using our teams, using our people to celebrate our brand and put back a spirit and some investment on our part into our brand. What does our brand stand for and what is that culture? So I'm going to show you one piece that we did now for Pride Month. All of the work we've been doing is internally. It leaks out externally, and that's fine, and that's what Christy and Christy are paid to do. But our chief purpose of that is to make sure that our team and our 2,000 associates know exactly what we stand for. So take a look at this. All right. Well, if you'd seen it, it was this great piece that we just did internally. These are not expensive communications, but they celebrate our people and they let our people celebrate our beliefs, even more importantly. So what we're founded on, obviously the B and DDB, Bill Bernbach, had a very simple vision for the type of people and the type of talent we would have. And again, we're steeped in culture. If you look at all of your agencies, you have founders, you have people who set up these agencies with such strong beliefs and opinions. Draw them out, celebrate them. Help your team remember and engage with them. And this is a fantastic quote. When we started our agency, we had in mind precisely the kind of people we wanted with us. There were two requirements. You had to be talented and you had to be nice. Life is too short to sacrifice so much of it to living with a bastard. And isn't that a truth, right? Isn't that a truth? So with that, I'm going to wrap up my sort of hello from my almost delivery next Tuesday. Although my 3 children were all early, so maybe it could come in a minute. And 2 more things I want to say. It would be remiss of me not to take advantage of this room and tell you that I am recruiting for a Chief Talent Officer for North America. If you've seen me trolling your LinkedIn, it's me. It really is me. So I get to partner with Sally, who is our Chief Talent Officer for the globe, but I want a partner in North America. And what Marie Claire and Patty said is absolutely right. This is a partner. This isn't a department. I need someone to make decisions with about our talent. So I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that. And by the way, most importantly, I'm also recruiting for other positions. I will not hire the other positions in North America until I hire the Chief Talent Officer. It will be my first hire because that is the message that every one of the 2,000 associates at DDB must hear, that we will not make other hires until we have our talent, leader, and vision in place. And so it's holding up everything else, by the way. So if you're interested, contact me. The other thing I wanted to just say is thank you for the repeat invite. It was a delight to be here again. And I hope to come back next year when we're in the toddler years, which I think will be even more interesting and potentially messy and chaotic. So with that, thank you very much.